A second major bank has defied the Treasurer's warnings and lifted interest rates above last week's official rise. The ANZ has increased rates on a standard variable home loan by 39 basis points, adding more than $70 a month to the average mortgage. The bank has moved to ward off a backlash by announcing it's scrapping mortgage exit fees. But the government has accused the bank of putting profits ahead of customers. And it says the ANZ hasn't learned anything from the fury directed at the Commonwealth Bank last week. From Canberra, Susan McDonald reports.
It was late in the afternoon and after the markets had closed that the ANZ announced the unpopular move.
Barbara lives in bank world.
Go away.
But we live in your world.
Welcome to ANZ.
The bank's raised its variable mortgage interest rate by 39 basis points to 7.8%. It adds around $76 a month to an average $300,000 home loan, a rise substantially more than the Reserve Bank's increase of 0.25%.
These are real funding cost pressures, and at some point the banks do need to pass on some of those funding cost pressures.
It's been more than a week since the Melbourne Cup Day rate rise, when the Commonwealth Bank bolted out of the gates with an increase of 45 basis points. And since then, there's been an outpouring of political and community anger.
The ANZ has not learnt the lessons of this last week.
With the Treasurer out of the country, it was left to the Finance Minister to respond.
It is another case of the big banks showing disregard for their customers and putting profits before their customers and before the community's standards.
Today, the ANZ kicked sand in the face of the Gillard government by increasing their interest rates by nearly double the amount of the Reserve Bank.
Amid the backlash, the ANZ sensed the need to offer some sweeteners. It's unveiled new measures it says will boost competition and choice for customers. Mortgage exit fees have been scrapped, and the bank will offer up to $1,600 in fee discounts and subsidies until the end of the year to reduce switching costs.
In the broader context, this is the right thing to do, but, it'll certainly cost us tens of millions of dollars.
Any benefit in the abolition of an exit fee is going to be soaked up immediately by the increase in the interest rate.
The ANZ preempted the corporate regulator announcing details of a crackdown on mortgage exit fees. ASIC has promised to sue banks that charge unfair exit fees, and it says banks that charge customers to set up a mortgage won't be able to slug them with an exit fee as well.
It is an important development. What remains to be seen, however, is, of course, in what circumstances there will be enforcement action.
This is the government's legislation working. This is the government's legislation being put into action.
The ANZ is thumbing its nose at all in the political debate. Its decision to raise rates by more than the official move ups the stakes for those in Parliament campaigning on banking reform, with the opposition preparing a private members' bill and the government finalising a package of changes that it will announce next month. It's all fodder for an opposition leader who's in continuous campaign mode. At a community forum in Brisbane's mortgage belt,
thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Tony Abbott picked up on the day's theme.
I think all of us dislike the banks. We love the banks when they're giving us money. We hate the banks when they want it back again.
Earlier in Canberra, the Liberal Party federal director dissected the coalition's election campaign and Labor's second term so far.
Julia Gillard is not cutting the mustard, and this is something that is causing great concern out in the Australian community. It's almost as though the election is unresolved, and people are looking for a strong alternative.
The campaign rolls on. Susan McDonald, Lateline.